Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the all-new BMW X5 to the all-new Range Rover Sport to see which luxury SUV is best. Before we get in this video, though, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW of Pleasant Grove for giving me some time with the X5, and to the Land Rover here in Lehigh, Utah for giving me some time with the Range Rover Sport. I'll include a link to both their inventories in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the X5 is a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 375 horsepower and then 398 pound-feet of torque. Powering the Range Rover Sport is also a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs, however, are a little bit different, 395 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting things off with the Range Rover Sport. Range Rover's gone for a more minimalist approach with their design language with their new Sport and their full size. And you can tell, look at the accent pieces here on the hood, and then of course got the Range Rover logo. Notice how everything's kind of like flush here on the front ends, the lights and the grille. I do like the coloration on these accent pieces, by the way. But again, more minimalist with the design. Whereas with the X5, BMW's gone for a more aggressive, sporty approach. I mean, look at the lines here on the hood, and then you guys can see with how the headlights are shaped. And notice how, like, the grille, for example, pops out. It's aggressive. It's like nostrils, right? It's pretty crazy. And then you got the parking sensors there at the bottom. By the way, the Range Rover also has parking sensors. But hopefully you guys kind of see the difference, right, in theme, sportiness versus kind of like the minimalist luxury look that the Range Rover has. Now with the Range Rover, our tire wheel setup is 285, 45, 22 in the front and over in the rear, whereas with the BMW, it is 275, 45, 20 in the front and over in the rear. You notice that with the BMW, you've got these body painted fender flares. Again, simplicity with the design of the Range Rover, so we don't have any fender flares, just kind of like cuts there on the fender. And then you guys can see with the little accent piece that kind of matches there on the hood. BMW has a little fake venting piece here on the side. Notice with the mirror cap difference, you've got black versus white, right? Even though they both have kind of like a black and white theme, but that's because the pillars and everything in the Range Rover are all blacked out, whereas with the BMW, they just go for the window trim. And then here's your full side view on the Range Rover Sport. And then here's your side view on the BMW X5. Now popping into the hatch area of the BMW, you guys can see we've got quite a bit of space back here. We also have a cargo cover built in from the factory. This one has the tailgate hatch, so you can see you've got this that you can sit on whenever you want to use it for. And then obviously you got the top part. And the cool thing is when you press this, they actually close together. The Range Rover also has quite a bit of storage space back here. It looks like they're pretty similar when it comes to space here in the back cargo cover, all that. And then this just has a regular hatch. If you want the tailgate hatch, you actually have to go for the full size rather. And now when it comes to design here in the back, and you guys can see with the BMW, you've got these like taillights that look like halo swords. Actually, that's kind of what that reminds me of. But yeah, really aggressive. I mean, look at the coverage for the exhaust tips, all that just like out there. With the Range Rover Sport, again, you can see kind of more minimalist rather with the design. Apparently I can't say that word. Like look at the taillights, for example. I got the cool 3D effect there on the side. And then you can see with the exhaust tips, kind of boxier. Again, to go with the overall theme. But let me know which style you like more. Now in the back of the BMW, legroom is fantastic. We've got a little storage pocket here. We have this for a little charging port. Got some vent action, and then we also have our dual zone climate, and then you can see the charging ports right there. And then by the way, here's the door design with the two-tone. You got the ambient lighting and everything. And look at the seats as well. And then if you're wondering, headroom back here is great. Now here in the back of the Range Rover, pretty similar in terms of space, and then you guys can see vents, heated seats, all of that fun stuff. And by the way, look at the seats here in the Range Rover. Again, definitely more simplistic with the overall design. I'd say that both the seats are pretty much equally comfortable. And then look at the door panel here. Again, very minimalist the design, and then you can see here with the seat I can recline it if I want, which is pretty cool. And then headroom back here is also great. Well, here's the front door panel with the BMW, basically the same as the rear, but notice we do have memory seats. You can power fold in the mirrors, and the mirrors have blind spot monitoring. So here's the steering wheel. I love the stitching we have here, paddle shifters in the back. Of course, we got our M logo because it says the M Sport. And then full digital gauge cluster here. When you actually change the drive modes, it'll kind of change what the gauge cluster shows, which is another cool part of this whole setup. And then If we pop it into reverse, we do have a 360 camera system, as you can see. And then the other thing to note, we got the climate controls here at the bottom, which is really cool. And overall response time with the screen is fantastic. By the way, super easy to use. So I think they did a good job with that. And then look at the trim down below. Notice how it goes to X5. See the wood trim there. And then look at the leather on the dash. Then we got stuff like a wireless phone charging pad. We have a little shifter here. This is a control for the infotainment system. And your whole drive mode select down below with your hill descent control. And then you guys can see here, look at the leather trim on top. And then we do have a full panoramic sunroof. Now taking a look at the Range Rover door panel, minimalist, just like the back door panel. Notice you got your power adjustments here on the side, memory seats, all of that. And then look at the window controls. Everything's a little bit like nicer looking here in the Range Rover, a little bit more expensive. And then you guys can see here with the blind spot ring for the mirrors. And then taking a look at the steering wheel, got nice stitching and everything. Look at the paddles there on the back. Those are quite fancy indeed. All your practical controls. Got this digital gauge cluster here in the center. You can also, customize it like the BMW. You can change what it shows. Right now it's showing navigation. And I like the integration here with like the overall dash design. I think that it looks pretty nifty. And then we got the infotainment screen. So first off, 360 camera system. Fills in underneath the vehicle as you move, which is pretty cool. And overall response time with the infotainment system, really solid. And then yeah, it is a Range Rover, so you got your center locking differential. As if anyone would take a Range Rover Sport off-road. I shouldn't say that, some people do take these off-road. But pretty cool, all the stuff that you have here. And then you can go to like the climate, for example, and control all of that. And speaking of climate, look at this down below. So you press in, and then this will let you do the seats, which is pretty cool. And funny enough, both of these only have heated seats and heated steering wheel. Neither of them have ventilated seats. But it's cool, like the multi-use with these climate controls. I think that definitely kind of adds to the fun of this. And again, it goes with the minimalist theme. And look at the shifter here. Pretty cool with that. And then you've got this, which is your drive mode select. So if you put that up, then it'll let you go through the drive modes. It has a bunch of off-road modes as well as, some on-road modes like your dynamic and eco, for example. And then you do have hill descent control with this. And then you see the little storage space here. And then look at the center console. Massive. I do like the finish on the top. And then we got these armrests here. And then we do have the double glove box, so you got the top portion, and then you got the bottom portion as well. And it looks like this one actually has the rear view camera mirror. And we do have a full panoramic sunroof here at the top as well. Now when it comes to pricing, as equipped, this Range Rover Sport stickers for about $97,000. This BMW X5 stickers for about $80,000. Well, starting off in the Range Rover Sport. Man, this inline six, it's a good engine. It'd be interesting to see how this compares to the BMW's powertrain. But man, I can tell you these cars have two completely different driving experiences, even though they kind of compete against each other. So with the Range Rover, it does have air suspension, and you can definitely tell with the drive. It's really comfortable. Like when you go over bumps and everything, it does a really good job of smoothing everything out. And it's just kind of like floats down the road. Now, it does have this kind of like bigger, heavier feel. Like this feels like a large SUV. So it'll be interesting to compare that to the BMW. Pop it into dynamic here. It's really quiet in here. It's very kind of like serene experience. You can tell that Range Rover's focused on luxury here. Even though sport's in the name, there's definitely a focus on luxury with this vehicle. Yeah, the auto stop start's really seamless. Well, we'll get our acceleration here with the Sport. That's quick. That's quick. Obviously, you can get a V8 with this. You can also get a V8 with the BMW too, though. I will say I do like these paddle shifters more than the BMWs because BMW has like plastic on the back. I don't know why they do that. These feel like high quality, like I'd actually want to use them. But the thing that's funny is I actually don't want to use the paddle shifters in this as much as the BMW because like in this car, I just want to like sit back and relax. That's kind of what the Range Rover Sport's all about. It's funny that the vehicle with the nicer paddle shifters is the one that I'm probably not going to use them in because I'm going to be just, again, floating down the road. So let's cookie some things up with the Sport driving before we go and drive the BMW X5. So this is definitely, it's tuned more towards luxury. You can tell with the design, with the seat comfort, with the interior. This is more of like a laid back experience. Like, yeah, you can still do the, you know, going around corners fast, all that kind of stuff. But again, most people that buy this, that's not what they're going to be doing. What they're going to be doing is, you know, wherever they're driving and doing it in comfort and style, right? That's what this is also about, is the style. That's why they've gone for the minimalist design with it. But yeah, in terms of luxury SUVs, I mean, under $100,000, this thing's really hard to beat on the luxury front with everything this has, with how well it drives. And the thing that shocks me is a loaded up Grand Cherokee nowadays costs almost as much as this. This is, I don't, we're not even doing that comparison. Maybe I need to put that together, that comparison, but it's just crazy, like how nice this is at the price point that it's at. But let's go check out the X5. Okay, so setting off in the X5, and it's already a completely different experience, like right off the bat. So this one doesn't have air suspension, and it definitely has a lighter weight feel compared to the Range Rover. Like, it's got this more nimble feel right off the bat. And the powertrain, although a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6, just like the Range Rover, it delivers power in a completely different manner. So the Range Rover, with its power delivery, it's kind of like there's a little bit of lag, and then it kind of goes, and it's a good powertrain. This, on the other hand, it feels like there's way more low-end grunt. That is for sure. So I think that's definitely a key difference with them. Yeah, the handling's just way different. You can definitely tell that BMW's emphasized the sport aspect with this one, which makes sense. That's what BMW's brand is all about. Seat comfort, though, I think the Range Rover seats are slightly more comfortable, but I think a big part of it is just the fact that, like, I never skip leg day, and I have big legs because of that. And so, like, I'm kind of like on the edge of the BMW bolsters, whereas the Range Rover seats are a little bit bigger, so like they just fit my legs a little bit better. So I think that's part of the reason why these seats feel a little bit less comfortable. So if you skip leg day, the BMW is going to be the better car for you. So to sum things up here with this comparison, BMW versus Range Rover, $17,000 price gap. That's a pretty big difference. Here's what I'd have to say. I do like the styling on both of these, so I don't think you can go wrong one way or the other. Interior wise, I think that the BMW fit and finish is fantastic, and so is the Range Rover. I do think the Range Rover interior does feel more upscale. Like, these window controls are plastic, whereas the Range Rover is like nice metallic. Same with the paddle shifters. These are plastic. Range Rover's nice metallic. So the Range Rover interior does feel nicer. And then from a driving experience perspective, the Range Rover emphasizes luxury and comfort. This emphasizes sportiness and handling. They're both going to be great daily driver vehicles, but there's where the emphasis is with both the vehicles. Now, again, is the Range Rover worth $17,000 more? I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Let me know which one you choose, X5 or Range Rover Sport.